All right, Charlie Atkinson from PeopleFactors is up next. We'll get him on the line here. There he is.
Hi, Chris. Thanks very much for having us.
Excellent. Welcome to RecTech Live, Charlie. Give us a quick overview of PeopleFactors first.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you very much. And hi to everybody. Great to have you here. I'm actually in Boston today. I bounced between the two, Boston and London, although it's been Boston for a lot of the recent time. Not so much flying going on at the moment. But our offices are based in London and in Boston, so we share the two locations. And I'm been spent the last 20 years around leadership consulting, and that's really what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, and how we hire for people leaders and how that can be a useful tool for you. So
you have a different kind of target market here, right?
Very much so, absolutely. Yeah. So the Tradify one was fascinating, some really good stuff there. So thanks very much, Josh. Good to hear all about it. So now I just need to share my screen, I think.
Yep.
Let's see now. I was trying to share the whole event. I just need to share my screen, don't I?
Yeah. Also, if your picture, you'll see the icon there.
There it is. I got it. Thank you very much. Okay. So hopefully you can see our homepage to our website, and I'll do a quick little intro and then run us through the actual platform itself. So really, if you're recruiting or promoting or developing people leaders in your organization, as opposed to those kind of volume hires, then you've got some rather different kind of needs to the ones that Josh was discussing there. And really, this is an important area. Good managers and leaders deliver an inordinate impact to business performance. So PeopleFactors is specializing in helping organizations to define and find the characteristics that you need to build that strong leadership backbone in your organization to support your organization's success. So yeah, thanks very much for having us today. It's great to be on board. As we know, the quality assessments, such as Josh just provided us from Tradify and PeopleFactors provides, and many other organizations, as long as they're based on good, solid science, they bring some real objectivity and consistency to hiring processes. And so they improve your efficiency and the effectiveness, they challenge your bias, they reduce mistakes, all those great things. The difference with PeopleFactors is that we are focused on delivering a comprehensive solution for identifying management capability and leadership potential. That can be from your supervisory team leader kind of level, right the way up to your C-suite and your leadership in all sorts of organizations, from small startups up to big corporates. PeopleFactors itself, it's the technology division of Human Factors, which is an international HR leadership consultancy that's spent the last 38 years helping global businesses to identify and develop their leaders. And our assessments cover a broad range of measures in multiple languages and are used by businesses large and small around the world. So today what I wanted to do was just take a moment to walk you through a little bit of the platform and show you some of the features. I want to start with how we go about setting up an assessment, whether that might be for some volume campaigns in terms of things like leadership programs where we get involved. But more often than not, it's something rather targeted, like an executive recruitment or even supporting a learning and development program. I'll run you through a little bit of the candidate's experience, share some reports with you, explain the different reports, and how it's used for recruitment, for promotion, succession planning, development analytics. So let's dive in and have a quick look. This is us logging into the platform here. And what we're going to see is a homepage that gives us a kind of quick overview of activity for this client. But really, to get started, we need to dive into the people page of the system. And here you can see details from all of your assessments. So you just need to click on a name, and that gives you a little bit of detail about that individual, tells you what emails have been fired out to this person, what assessments they've completed, and a little bit more about their background information to help you manage that kind of process. There are kind of four main ways that you can add a candidate to this whole process. So you can utilize APIs that we provide that make it easy to integrate with various different applicant tracking systems. We saw actually on the first page Smart Recruiter, which is one that we've we do quite a lot of work with.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows the applicant tracking system to actually manage the whole setup of candidates and move through this process. You can also you can set up something like this page, which is a registration page that we provide a framework for, and then you add your branding to. And this one is being used for a graduate program for Imperial Brands, and that allows candidates to register themselves. So if you don't actually know who it is necessarily that you're expecting to come on board, then you can have people come and you provide them with a link, or you can put the link on your career site as you wish to do. The next way that you can also do this, you can bulk upload up to 100 people at a time using a spreadsheet, if that's the way that you're managing your process. Or what we'll do today, we'll just have a quick look at adding one person at a time. So here you just fill in some information about the person, and then we're able to, let's just add them here. We can select their languages. We offer lots of different languages, and there's always new ones coming on board. I'm going to use UK, as you can tell by the accent. So we encourage people to do the assessments in their native language, simply because if they don't do particularly well, or they don't come out as you expect when they're using English and that's not their native language, you're not entirely sure if that's because they have some challenges with English language, or whether they are actually not as capable as you expected them to be. So wherever possible, let's separate out measuring their English language capability from their underlying personality and ability characteristics. The assessments themselves, we set these up in configuration with you when we're setting up the platform for you. So we have some clients who use lots and lots and lots of different assessments. They define an assessment package for every single job function that they might have, or we have others who keep it very simple and maybe only have one or two options here. Generally, though, the core of an assessment for this kind of piece is going to be a personality, a critical reasoning test, an ability or cognitive ability test, maybe a management styles questionnaire as well. And then on top of that, you might find that you're looking to add sales aptitude, ways of working, motivational values, problem analysis, other kinds of things like that, depending on your assessment strategy. So if we we'll pick one here, and then if we do add job function, which is an optional choice on this, then you get the option to add other things like a functional case study, where maybe somebody has to do a case study, or a financial case study, or an HR case study, or a strategy case study, something like that. We're also able to add interviews, candidate feedback, and so forth as well. And you can choose to add an assessment deadline. Don't have to do that, but it's useful for encouraging candidates to complete. It's also useful for you because you can then set up automatic reminders to go out to candidates to make sure that they're nudged along to get their assessments done. And then we got a way of grouping your assessment, so you can add tags. You can manage as many tags as you wish. We have clients who use these to structure their assessments around geographical regions, around divisions in the company, around projects, so maybe a graduate recruitment program, something like that, or around roles themselves. So maybe you're looking at sales advisors or something along those lines too. And then you simply add the person on. So that is just a quick run through of how straightforward it is to set up an assessment for a person. There's lots of options, but it is pretty quick and easy to do. And as I said, there's also lots of automated ways of doing that too. So if I open up one of these guys, actually, let's open up Bruce. We can have a quick look at the actual candidate experience here. I'm going to need somebody who's, yeah. So what we find is that we did have in the old days, when people used to meet face-to-face for interviews, we used to have people come in and do an interview, and then maybe they were going to go ahead and straight away and do an assessment there and then. So we have this ability for you to just open the assessment right from this window here. Alternatively, most of the cases, they would receive an email. So you would click and send one of the pre-configured emails out to them to invite them to go on and complete the assessment. That's what everybody does nowadays. But it's useful to have this here right now, because I get to click on it and actually show you what a candidate looks like. So this is opening up the candidate experience. First thing to see here is that candidates can access and manage their own data forms. So this is a GDPR requirement in Europe. And so if you're doing any kind of international assessment, then this is going to be something you want to make sure is available to you. And they do have instructions on the bottom here on how to request that their data is removed. This very rarely happens. We did thousands and thousands of assessments in the last 12 months, and we haven't had a single data removal request. I can only remember one in the last 10 years. So it's pretty rare, but it's one of those regulatory things that we really want to have there. We ask a few questions of the candidate, and then the main thing is that we're encouraging them to do things like switch off their phone, make sure they're in a quiet place, give themselves the best opportunity. We did some research a little while on why assessments, well, it was actually focused on whether or not candidates were cheating when doing assessments, and there were obviously various safeguards that we can put in place to prevent that. But one thing that we did find out was that most issues didn't arise from candidates actually trying to cheat or game the system. They came from candidates not recognizing that they needed to be in a quiet, safe environment where they wouldn't get interrupted and so forth. It's a lot better to try and prevent that than it is to resolve an issue of somebody coming back to you afterwards and saying, my fire alarm went off and I had to leave in the middle of the assessment. What do I do? So anything that we can do to help prevent that is useful. And then another major difference that we have between us and Tradeify is the amount of time it might take somebody to complete an assessment. We're at the other end of the scale. If you do a full executive assessment with us, it could take up to 90 minutes. Personality test, if that's all you're doing as a part of a screening, less than 10 minutes, still significantly more than the 90 seconds that Tradeify have. But the full 90-minute assessment is actually, when you think about it, about the same time as lots of interviews take. And we're looking at a huge amount of information that we're gathering here. So we're looking at personality and cognitive ability and analytic skills and motivational values and management styles and all these kinds of different things. And so you get a lot more information in that 90 minutes than you would from a 90-minute interview. If I'm going to click on one of these just to show you the actual system itself runs through all the instructions, so you don't have to be administering these kind of assessments. This is actually a simulation that we give to people before they complete the cognitive ability assessment. It's optional for them, but it just provides them with some practice if they want to do it. And this is a useful way of negating the practice effect that you might otherwise see. And so you get the kinds of questions you might see here, and they can go through, and the timing is completed by the system. And then when the results are all wrapped up, they are sent back to secure servers for analysis.
2 minutes, Charlie.
Great, thank you. So I'm just going to dive back in to show you a quick thing on the reports themselves. So once those results come back, then these are the kinds of reports that you might get. The really key thing to remember about the reports here is that the system that we use now, we used to have consultants handwriting reports back in the old days. That was great, but one, it was expensive, and two, it was time consuming. We now have built an expert system, a type of AI that has learned from the consultants on how to write these reports, and it is able to turn them out within a matter of seconds, but it still embeds within it all of that tacit knowledge that our consultants were able to provide. So it's a bit like having a team of IO psychologists working for you at lightning speed at any time of the day or night. So it's a quite handy thing to be able to have. We then, that system integrates the results from lots and lots of different assessments into one single report. So you no longer have to have the situation where you understand the statistics. You don't have to be trained to understand these reports. They're written for a hiring manager who has no knowledge of the assessment process itself to fully understand. So here we've got the first part is a recommendation. The algorithms behind this for the fit for level and the future potential are based on our research identifying the characteristics that are most predictive of success within these jobs and job levels. And then we go down to the rest of the report is really focused around these essential capabilities. And for each of these, the candidate's getting a score, and then they're getting a description that is very specifically about that person. There's more than 60,000 options in each of these. So essentially, each one of these is unique to this person. We don't base it on a kind of type model. So we're not lumping people into boxes. We're treating everybody as looking at their individual differences. Okay. So that's the essential report. We have a couple other kinds of reports I'll just talk you through. We have candidate reports, which remove any of the detail around the job role itself, and so they're safe to send to candidates. We have development reports, which really focus on what the key strengths of an individual are and provide some suggestions for making the most of those strengths and mitigating their potential limitations. And then we have things like a summary report, which just provides a quick overshot of a candidate and is really useful if you're looking at maybe a quick reminder during a panel interview or a presentation or part of a development program or something along those kinds of lines. So lots of different options there. And again, we can adapt and change to configure it to fit your requirements depending on what your strategy assessment approach really is.
Okay. Well, thank you, Charlie. What's your pricing like as well? You want to just mention that quickly?
So the assessments go from, you can buy them one go at a time, from $100 up to $1,000, depending on what assessment packages you're looking at. But more of our clients now are moving to our flat rate subscription models. They start from $1,500 a month. So they're great if you're going to do any kind of volume. If you're doing more than 10 or 20 assessments, then you're definitely going to be interested in subscriptions.
Awesome. Well, Charlie Atkinson from PeopleFactors, thank you for your time today. Great to see PeopleFactors in action there.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Your link's in the chat there. So appreciate your time, Charlie.